How long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself? Stop looking outward. Every time you do, you divide your strength. Every scroll, every comparison, every reaction steals a fragment of your focus until nothing remains but noise. The Stoic cuts this connection with precision. They silence the pull of the crowd, the weight of opinion, the lure of distraction. The lecture has already begun. The test has already started. Your discipline will be measured by what you ignore. You do not rise by chasing attention. You rise by reclaiming it. The world will tempt you to scatter, to move faster, to prove yourself to ghosts who were never watching. Ignore it. The Stoic walks through the noise untouched, each step deliberate, each breath controlled. To focus on yourself is to wage war against every impulse that seeks to own you. Attention is sovereignty. Guard it like territory. This path is not quiet. It hums with tension. Every act of restraint, every moment of silence, every refusal to react builds pressure into strength. The mind sharpens, the body steadies, the will hardens. The Stoic stands in that storm, unblinking, unmoved. They do not wait for calm. They create it. We begin here. Focus on yourself, or be ruled by everything that distracts you. The mind that spends its energy measuring others forgets the depth it could reach alone. The Stoics taught that the greatest waste is comparison, the scattering of attention toward what cannot be ruled. When your eyes are fixed on another's path, your own legs forget how to walk with purpose. The discipline of self-focus is not selfishness, it is stewardship. You were given one domain to command: your reason, your choices, your conduct. Every moment spent judging another is a moment stolen from your own improvement. A Stoic sees that imitation weakens the spirit. To chase validation is to build a house on wind. When your worth depends on applause, your peace depends on noise. The wise learn to silence that craving. They train the mind to be sufficient to itself. Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has himself in his own power." To focus on yourself means to guard that power like a fortress. Let others live as they will. You refine your own standard until it no longer bends under opinion. The discipline begins with honesty. Ask what truly governs you, your own judgment or the eyes of strangers. Most live in a theater of reaction. They dress their lives to be seen, not to be lived. The Stoic strips that away. They rise each morning to audit their conduct, not their image. They keep score only against yesterday's self. The distance between who you were and who you are becoming is the only metric worth attention. Silence becomes a weapon. The one who trains in solitude learns clarity. The world shouts its distractions, but solitude teaches discernment. When you are alone and unobserved, your motives stand naked. That is where strength is forged. The Stoics withdrew into reflection not to escape life, but to return with order. A focused mind cannot be ruled by chaos. It learns to separate the urgent from the essential, the noise from the truth. You must understand the economy of energy. Every complaint, every argument, every attempt to prove yourself is a withdrawal from your strength. The Stoic invests only in what yields virtue. They do not chase outcomes, they refine conduct. They act with precision and let fate assign the result. To focus on yourself is to master this economy, to spend thought only where it multiplies integrity. Comparison corrodes clarity. When you measure yourself by others, your sight becomes distorted. Each person lives under a different weight, shaped by circumstances unseen. The Stoic refuses to compete in illusions. They measure progress by inner harmony, not by victory over others. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others." This is not arrogance, it is alignment. A mind aimed inward becomes unshakable. The world praises ambition that feeds on rivalry, but Stoic ambition feeds on refinement. The aim is not to surpass another, but to embody mastery. True focus is clean, it asks no permission and seeks no witnesses. You do the work because the work dignifies you. You improve because decay is unworthy of reason. When you act from that clarity, your results speak without effort. The noise outside can neither crown you nor dethrone you. Attention is the rarest form of wealth. Each day you are robbed by distractions you invited. To focus on yourself is to reclaim ownership of your attention. The Stoic guards thought like a treasurer guards gold. They spend it only on what strengthens reason. Idle curiosity, gossip, resentment, all are thefts. A day spent observing others is a day you abandoned command of yourself. Self-focus is not isolation, it is purification. It removes the foreign opinions that corrupt judgment. When you stop chasing approval, you begin to hear your own conscience clearly. That voice is ancient and stern. It tells you what must be done without flattery. It does not care for trends or praise. It speaks only of what is right, and it expects obedience. To live by that voice is freedom. The Stoic trains daily in detachment. Detachment does not mean apathy, it means precision. To see without distortion, to act without compulsion. When insulted, they respond with control. When ignored, they remain steady. Their worth does not rise or fall with attention. They do not perform virtue, they live it quietly. Their discipline is invisible until tested, and when tested, it does not break. To focus on yourself means to confront your flaws without denial. The weak mind hides from truth. The strong mind seeks it. The Stoic examines their anger, pride, envy, not to condemn themselves, but to remove impurities. They see emotion as weather passing through the sky of reason. What remains constant is command. Each correction sharpens identity. Each act of restraint deepens power. Patience becomes armor. The one who focuses on themselves knows that mastery is slow. They are not rushed by envy or fear. They move according to principle, not impulse. Others sprint toward applause. The Stoic walks toward permanence. They do not waste time explaining their silence. Their results become their argument. Their consistency becomes their defense. You cannot serve two masters, the world's opinion and your own judgment. Choose one. If you live for others' praise, you will die by their neglect. If you live by your own law, you will stand whether they praise or despise you. The Stoic chooses sovereignty. They accept misunderstanding as the price of peace. To focus on yourself is to accept solitude as strength, not punishment. Most people do not know themselves because they never sit still long enough to listen. They drown in stimulation and call it living. The Stoic withdraws for moments of inventory. They ask, what did I do well? What did I neglect? What did I fear that I should have faced? This quiet audit builds self-command. The one who knows their weaknesses becomes unassailable because nothing inside them is hidden. When you focus on yourself, you stop bargaining with emotion. You no longer negotiate with laziness or self-pity. You act according to principle even when unseen. That integrity creates a different kind of confidence, one that does not depend on praise. Confidence born from discipline is permanent. It does not fade when unrecognized. It grows in silence, nourished by effort alone. A Stoic does not compete for status. They compete for clarity. Their aim is not to appear strong, but to be unshakable. They measure progress in calmness under pressure, in control under insult, in integrity under temptation. Each victory is invisible to the crowd, but known to the conscience. That is the true game of mastery, and it is played in solitude. Distraction is the modern enemy. The Stoic must practice focus like a soldier sharpens a blade. Every notification, every comparison, every anxious scroll dulls attention. The wise create rituals of stillness, moments where no input enters. In that silence, the mind resets its order. Focus returns like breath after drowning. To control attention is to control life. The Stoic sees success as a byproduct, not an objective. They understand that the universe responds to order, not noise. When conduct is right, outcomes align naturally. This removes the need to obsess over what others achieve. You refine your role and trust the sequence of cause. Effort remains your domain. Fate governs the rest. This division brings calm to the restless and strength to the weary. Every comparison begins with a lie, the lie that another's journey could replace yours. It cannot. Their success does not diminish your potential. Their failure does not secure your peace. The Stoic honors individual path. They study others only to extract wisdom, never envy. The mind that admires learns. The mind that compares decays. Choose admiration, not competition. To focus on yourself is to cultivate stillness amid movement. You perform your duties with care, detached from spectatorship. You remain consistent in principle, indifferent to result. This steadiness terrifies the unstable because it cannot be manipulated. The Stoic who minds their own discipline becomes immovable. They do not need to announce progress. Their composure reveals it. Pride in self-focus is dangerous when it turns to contempt. The Stoic guards humility, knowing that isolation can breed arrogance. They remind themselves, self-command is not superiority, it is responsibility. To govern oneself is to serve order. Each action must be weighed against virtue, not vanity. The moment pride corrupts focus, discipline becomes theater again. To focus on yourself means you withdraw blame. You stop assigning fault to the world for what lies within your control. You cease waiting for ideal conditions. You use what exists. The Stoic works with reality as a craftsman with rough stone. Each strike shapes the form. Complaints carve nothing. The world does not bend to grievance, it bends to effort. Every distraction is a test. Every provocation is an invitation to lose control. The Stoic trains to refuse both. Their calm is not passive, it is armed. It stands ready to act with clarity when action is needed, and to stay still when impulse calls. Focus on yourself long enough, and the noise fades into insignificance. You begin to feel the weight of your own power, the steadiness of inner command. Discipline requires repetition. The Stoic repeats principles until they become nature. They remind themselves daily, I control my mind, I guide my actions, I accept what comes. This rhythm becomes the spine of life. Others chase novelty, the Stoic seeks refinement. The path does not change, only the depth of understanding. To focus on yourself is to walk the same road until it becomes identity. You must learn to say no, not as rebellion, but as preservation. Every yes given to distraction is a no to progress. The Stoic keeps their boundaries sharp. They value their time as the essence of existence. To waste it on triviality is to insult reason. The world respects those who guard their attention. Boundaries are the armor of focus. When you focus on yourself, you outgrow the need to explain. You act cleanly, knowing that principle justifies itself. The mind anchored in virtue does not seek validation. Its peace comes from alignment between thought and action. This quiet integrity radiates strength that words cannot describe. It is the posture of one who has conquered themselves. To be indifferent to others' approval is not to be cold, it is to be free. Freedom from praise is freedom from fear. The Stoic does not harden the heart, they clarify it. Compassion remains, but it is disciplined. They help when reason commands, not when emotion demands. This balance preserves energy for creation, not reaction. The more you focus on yourself, the clearer the world becomes. You stop expecting perfection from others because you understand struggle within yourself. Judgment softens into observation. You see people acting from ignorance, fear, habit, and you respond with understanding, not contempt. Self-knowledge breeds patience. The Stoic's calm becomes contagious. There is no need to broadcast transformation. The true Stoic works quietly, letting the world guess. They rise early, train the body, study the mind, discipline the will. Their habits accumulate until change becomes visible without declaration. Those still chasing attention cannot comprehend it. They are too busy watching others to see how silence builds strength. Focus is sacred. It is how you build an empire of the mind. The Stoic treats every task as a chance to express order. Whether cleaning a table or leading a nation, they apply the same principle. Do it with full presence. To do anything half-heartedly is to insult the gift of reason. Excellence begins when you stop dividing attention. The crowd will always mock solitude. They confuse noise with life. But every great mind retreated before it returned stronger. To focus on yourself is to walk through loneliness and discover that it was never emptiness, it was space. Space for thought, clarity, reconstruction. The Stoic endures it until it becomes peace. When the Stoic says, "Focus on yourself," it is not a withdrawal from duty, it is preparation for it. A disordered mind cannot serve well. By mastering their own impulses, they become useful to others through example. Self-command precedes service. A ruler who cannot rule themselves spreads chaos. A parent without patience teaches instability. Discipline within radiates order without. Detachment is tested most when the world misunderstands you. The Stoic expects this. They accept misinterpretation as natural. They do not waste time defending motives. The truth stands without argument. Focused people move differently. They unsettle the reactive. But time always reveals alignment. Patience protects the disciplined from the noise of short-term judgment. You do not need to know what others think. You need to know what is right. That is the Stoic creed. When the mind obeys virtue, the rest becomes irrelevant. Praise cannot inflate it. Criticism cannot pierce it. To reach that steadiness is the summit of focus. The self becomes its own compass, unshaken by the storm. The goal is not detachment from life, but detachment within life, to be in the crowd and untouched by its confusion, to stand amid motion and remain centered. The Stoic achieves this through daily discipline, through small victories over impulse. Each act of focus builds a wall around reason. Inside that wall, peace grows unchallenged. The reward of focusing on yourself is clarity of being. You begin to see where energy leaks, where emotions dictate, where desires mislead. You close those channels one by one until your actions flow cleanly from intention. This refinement feels like simplicity, but it is mastery. The fewer things that control you, the stronger your command. Focusing on yourself restores you to nature. You act according to what is within your power and accept what is beyond it. You no longer resist the order of events, you align with it. The Stoic finds calm in this surrender. The struggle to control others ceases, replaced by the craft of self-rule. From that posture comes serenity, strength, and the kind of confidence that does not require witnesses. Discipline deepens when focus turns inward without interruption. The same force that once defended against distraction now refines the self with precision. The Stoic does not rush to sever connection with the world, they redirect it. What once fed comparison now feeds improvement. Energy that once scattered across opinions becomes fuel for mastery. This redirection marks the difference between noise and evolution. Each moment of solitude becomes an arena. The mind watches itself act, react, and resist. It records impulses and learns their patterns. This self-observation is not judgment, it is training. The Stoic sharpens perception until every weakness reveals its origin. They understand that awareness precedes control. To focus on yourself is to build an internal mirror that never lies. The discipline of attention is a weapon against drift. Most people lose themselves in repetition. They act without reflection, speak without measure, desire without aim. The Stoic resists this unconscious motion. They reclaim intention in every gesture. Breathing, walking, speaking, all become acts of order. Focus is not limited to thought. It extends to posture, tone, presence. Each action either strengthens command or weakens it. When you begin to master self-observation, the need for external validation dissolves. Praise becomes irrelevant because truth has no audience. You know when you've acted with integrity, and that knowledge suffices. This independence terrifies those who depend on recognition, but for the Stoic, it is liberation. Freedom is not found in isolation from others, it is found in immunity to their opinion. Control over perception is the root of endurance. Every frustration, every insult, every delay is an event filtered through the mind. The untrained mind sees injustice. The trained mind sees opportunity. The Stoic reframes every disturbance as material for growth. By focusing on the self, they transform adversity into instruction. Life ceases to be an opponent and becomes a teacher. Focus is a living discipline, not a fixed state. It requires daily renewal. Each morning, the Stoic recommits to clarity. They plan the day, not as a schedule, but as an act of alignment. They ask, which tasks deserve attention and which merely distract? This clarity turns life from reaction into creation. Without focus, even ambition becomes chaos. A mind that governs itself commands respect silently. People sense steadiness. They recognize a person unmoved by flattery or insult. The Stoic does not need to speak of self-control. It radiates through calm precision. Such composure is not born from indifference but from understanding. When you focus on yourself, you stop expecting the world to act as you wish. You act according to reason and accept what unfolds. The modern world seduces through comparison. Every image, every feed, every voice whispers the same lie, that happiness can be measured through others. The Stoic rejects this illusion. They measure life only through alignment with virtue. No external metric, wealth, beauty, influence, can alter inner worth. The mind that holds this truth becomes untouchable. To focus on yourself is to accept full accountability. Excuses dissolve when attention is turned inward. The Stoic does not blame circumstance for disorder. They restore order within it. They adapt, adjust, correct. Fate provides the conditions. Reason decides the conduct. This union of clarity and courage is what transforms discipline into identity. Solitude sharpens identity. In silence, the self becomes visible. The Stoic does not fear being alone because they have trained to meet themselves there. They confront thoughts without disguise. Every defect, every excess, every weakness stands exposed. But exposure brings opportunity. To see clearly is to gain power over what once ruled unseen. The true test of focus is endurance. Attention must remain stable even when life turns hostile. The Stoic expects turbulence. They understand that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the mastery of response. A steady mind becomes a fortress under siege. It does not crumble at the sound of chaos. It grows stiller, more exact. This is the architecture of self-command. To focus on yourself means you no longer need to compete for moral clarity. You do not require agreement to act justly. You do not require witnesses to live rightly. Virtue verifies itself through consistency. The Stoic's path is narrow because it rejects compromise with impulse. While others negotiate with emotion, they execute principle. This sharpness defines integrity. The discipline of self-focus demands ritual. Repetition forms structure. Morning reflection, physical exertion, mindful work. Each becomes a pillar of order. The Stoic treats these practices not as habits, but as duties. They anchor the day to intention. Without ritual, thought drifts. With ritual, it gains trajectory. To govern the self, one must govern time. Every distraction tests your sovereignty. The world offers endless detours disguised as relevance. The Stoic learns to see through them. They measure each temptation by its consequence. Does it strengthen command or weaken it? If it weakens, it is discarded without debate. This swift discernment is a form of strength few possess. It is how focus becomes invincible. The more you master self-focus, the less you require motivation. Discipline replaces inspiration. The Stoic acts not because they feel like it, but because reason commands it. They do not negotiate with mood. They know that every emotion passes, but every act of will endures. This consistency builds momentum until focus becomes character. Clarity makes solitude luminous. It ceases to feel like withdrawal and becomes presence. The Stoic finds beauty in stillness because it mirrors the order of the cosmos. The same logic that moves the stars governs their conduct. They align themselves with nature by living without excess or waste. To focus on yourself is to harmonize with the larger order, not retreat from it. When the mind is trained on the self, noise loses meaning. Criticism, praise, rumor, all collapse into insignificance. The Stoic listens only to reason. They do not react to opinion. They respond to principle. This detachment grants freedom from manipulation. To know who you are is to be immune to persuasion. The Stoic understands that mastery of attention is mastery of life. Everything begins in thought. Every victory, every failure, every act of courage or cowardice is first imagined. The one who governs their thoughts governs destiny. Focus becomes the gatekeeper of fate. The mind that is undisciplined becomes its own enemy. To focus on yourself requires discipline of emotion. Anger, jealousy, resentment all weaken control. The Stoic does not suppress emotion, they direct it. Energy once wasted in conflict becomes strength applied to duty. Emotion becomes motion guided by reason. When the heart obeys the mind, chaos ends. The modern pursuit of attention corrodes self-awareness. The Stoic reverses this corrosion by valuing invisibility. They would rather be effective than noticed. They would rather be accurate than admired. In a culture that rewards exposure, restraint becomes rare power. True influence grows from composure, not display. As focus deepens, desires simplify. The Stoic seeks fewer things, but with greater intensity. Pleasure no longer dictates action. Utility and virtue define worth. This simplicity restores energy. The less you chase, the more you can build. The less you need, the harder you are to corrupt. Self-mastery does not end with control. It extends to creativity. Once distractions are removed, the mind creates from stillness. Innovation flourishes in silence. The Stoic channels this energy into building, teaching, guiding. Their productivity is an extension of order. They create not to impress, but to contribute to the harmony of reason. Focus reveals truth in all things. It exposes motives behind ambition, weakness behind pride, illusion behind comfort. The Stoic welcomes these revelations. Each truth, even painful, is a step toward purity of judgment. They prefer discomfort born of honesty to comfort born of deceit. The more one focuses on the self, the less tolerance remains for falsehood. Mastery of focus demands discipline of speech. The Stoic speaks rarely and with purpose. Words are tools, not ornaments. They know that every utterance shapes thought. Idle talk leaks strength. Silence preserves it. To focus on yourself includes mastering language, speaking only when it serves clarity or virtue. The Stoics' detachment does not mean distance from humanity. It means seeing clearly without emotional fog. They love more cleanly because they do not project need. They advise without superiority and listen without prejudice. This balance comes from inner fullness. When you need nothing from others, you can give without losing strength. Every challenge becomes a mirror. The Stoic uses hardship as feedback. Setbacks reveal impatience. Success reveals vanity. Both are handled with equal calm. Focus transforms fortune into training. Whatever fate delivers becomes an exercise in alignment. Through this perspective, the Stoic becomes undefeatable. A focused life is not loud. It moves with quiet accuracy. Every decision feels deliberate because it is. The Stoic wastes no motion, no word, no hour. Their pace may seem slow to the frantic, but it is efficient to the wise. They understand that speed without direction is erosion. Direction without distraction is victory. The Stoics' internal focus radiates outward as order. Their presence calms others, not by effort, but by nature. People sense the absence of chaos. They gravitate toward balance because it offers stability. To focus on yourself is to become a center of gravity in a world that drifts aimlessly. Influence born from equilibrium lasts longer than persuasion born from noise. Focus requires continual cleansing. The mind gathers residue from daily contact with chaos. Reflection removes it. Each evening, the Stoic reviews their conduct. Where was focus lost? Where was emotion excessive? This ritual restores balance. Without it, even the disciplined decay slowly. Maintenance is mastery. The final form of focus is acceptance. Once you have refined yourself through discipline, solitude, and order, you learn to trust the rhythm of fate. You stop forcing outcomes. You act rightly and allow consequence to follow. This surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It completes the circle of self-mastery. The Stoic acts, then lets go. To focus on yourself is to remember the truth that you are your own responsibility. No savior, no praise, no audience will build your character. Only you can command your thoughts, discipline your actions, and preserve your peace. The Stoic carries this weight with dignity. They know that within that burden lies freedom. True strength is silent, and it begins within. Stillness is not an escape from life, it is life seen clearly. The Stoic arrives at it not through retreat, but through mastery of movement. Detachment matures into stillness when the mind no longer flinches before change. The external world continues its motion. Events rise and fall, people come and go, but the disciplined mind stands rooted in inner balance. This calm is not emptiness, it is structure. Every impulse is filtered through reason, every reaction measured before it becomes motion. The permanence of detachment is built through repetition. Temporary peace is easy. It requires isolation. Permanent peace is forged in noise. The Stoic learns to remain unshaken not by withdrawing from the world, but by remaining calm within it. Each disturbance becomes material for refinement. Every irritation tests the strength of the wall within. When the mind holds its center through pressure, stillness ceases to be a state. It becomes nature. True detachment is not indifference. It is the refusal to let the uncontrolled govern the controlled. The Stoic cares deeply for their duties, but does not suffer over their outcomes. They love without possession. They act without obsession. When the results of effort are left to fate, anxiety dissolves. The mind returns to its rightful domain, the realm of judgment, intention, and virtue. This return is freedom. Stillness demands strength. A calm mind is not a soft mind. It is one that no longer fractures under tension. The Stoic achieves this through constant internal dialogue. They question their emotions before obeying them. They pause before response. They create distance between impulse and action, and in that distance they find command. The calm person is not void of feeling. They are the architect of it. The permanence of detachment is tested most in uncertainty. When plans collapse, when expectations fail, when loss visits, these are the proving grounds of focus. The untrained mind scrambles for control, but the Stoic remains still. They do not resist the event. They adjust within it. Their calm does not deny pain. It endures it with structure. Acceptance replaces resistance, and clarity returns. The discipline of stillness requires patience with imperfection. The Stoic understands that even mastery fluctuates. There will be days of tension, moments of lapse, but none of these define the whole. The key is return. Each time the mind strays, it is called back with firmness. This repetition carves permanence. Stillness is maintained not through perfection, but through persistence. Detachment removes distortion. The mind no longer amplifies events through emotion. It observes them as they are. A harsh word is a sound, not a wound. A loss is a fact, not a verdict. This neutrality clarifies perception. The Stoic sees reality without excess interpretation. Through this clarity, they act precisely, no longer reacting but responding with discipline. Stillness sharpens perception. The quieter the mind, the more it sees. Details once hidden by restlessness become visible. The Stoic reads expression, context, motive, all without attachment. They no longer seek control over others because they understand behavior as nature, not as offense. The mind freed from reactivity becomes an instrument of insight. A still mind is efficient. Thought no longer scatters toward speculation or resentment. Each idea forms, completes, and dissolves cleanly. Energy once wasted on reaction becomes available for creation. The Stoic channels this energy toward virtue, toward order, toward service. Their calm is not idle. It is productive. Stillness becomes motion without waste. The permanence of detachment is sustained by humility. The Stoic knows they are part of a larger order and submits to it. Pride shatters stillness. Surrender restores it. By aligning with the rhythm of nature, they stop fighting time. Seasons change, fortunes turn, people shift. The mind remains steady. Acceptance replaces struggle, and peace takes root. Stillness is not passive observation. It is active restraint. It is the strength to do nothing when nothing is needed. The weak rush to fill silence. The wise wait until reason calls. The Stoic learns that many problems dissolve without interference. Inaction guided by understanding is not laziness, it is precision. Detachment grants this discernment. Through stillness, perception of time changes. The hurried live in fragments, the focused live in continuity. Each action flows into the next without friction. The Stoic experiences this as simplicity. They move without conflict between desire and duty. What is done well. What is undone is accepted. Time itself becomes orderly. To live detached is to live with open hands. Nothing is gripped with desperation, so nothing can shatter when it leaves. The Stoic accepts possession as stewardship. They hold what is theirs with gratitude and release it without protest. This absence of clinging protects peace. When all is treated as borrowed, loss cannot impoverish the spirit. Stillness transforms perception of self. The ego, once inflated by praise or wounded by rejection, becomes silent. The Stoic no longer constructs identity from external mirrors. They know who they are by how they act, not by how they are seen. Identity anchored in virtue does not require defense. Detachment secures this stability. The practice of inner stillness also refines speech. The Stoic does not rush to reply. They let silence filter impulse from clarity. Their words carry weight because they arise from composure. When they speak, it is deliberate and free of vanity. This measured communication builds authority without aggression. Stillness commands more respect than noise. Detachment grants perspective over conflict. The Stoic views anger in others as a symptom of disorder, not as a personal attack. They respond with composure, knowing that chaos cannot be cured by chaos. Their calm presence diffuses escalation. In this way, stillness becomes influence. It changes the environment through quiet example. The permanence of detachment requires vigilance against subtle vanity. Even mastery can become performance if not watched carefully. The Stoic reminds themselves that virtue needs no display. To act rightly for the sake of appearance is corruption disguised as discipline. True stillness exists without audience. It endures unseen, validated only by conscience. Stillness aligns with wisdom because it listens longer than it speaks. The reactive mind interrupts truth with preference. The calm mind allows truth to reveal itself. The Stoic approaches learning without ego. They absorb correction without resentment. Detachment from pride opens the door to growth. This humility anchors stillness in permanence. Focus and stillness evolve together. As attention narrows, the mind simplifies. Complexity dissolves into clarity. The Stoic understands that most suffering arises from confusion between what can and cannot be controlled. Detachment resolves this confusion. It divides the world cleanly. Choice belongs to the self. Outcome belongs to fate. Once accepted, tension fades. Stillness strengthens courage. Fear feeds on imagination, but detachment removes imagination's grip. The Stoic faces uncertainty without panic. They act on what is known and endure what is not. Fear cannot hold a mind that stands on understanding. Stillness becomes armor against anxiety, not through avoidance, but through comprehension of limits. To be detached is to be exact in responsibility. The Stoic recognizes what is theirs to carry and refuses all else. They do not inherit the burdens of others' emotions or expectations. Compassion remains, but it does not dissolve boundaries. Detachment makes service more efficient because it separates care from entanglement. The calm helper is the most useful one. Stillness also restores physical control. The Stoic treats the body as the vessel of reason. They move deliberately, breathe steadily, and train consistently. Each motion reinforces mental order. Physical discipline is not vanity, it is alignment. A calm mind seeks a strong vessel, and a strong vessel sustains a calm mind. Detachment unites them. The permanence of detachment reveals itself in crisis. When others scatter in confusion, the Stoic stands composed. Their judgment remains clear because it was trained before the storm. Stillness built in peace protects in chaos. This composure becomes reliability. People trust those who do not lose themselves under pressure. A detached mind no longer reacts to fortune as if it were personal. Gains do not intoxicate, losses do not humiliate. Both are accepted as movements within the larger order. The Stoic maintains equality of spirit through all change. This evenness is strength. It cannot be provoked into arrogance or despair. The calm mind stays level regardless of height or depth. Stillness purifies desire. The Stoic no longer seeks what is unnecessary. They choose what aligns with purpose and discard the rest. Their ambitions shrink in number but expand in quality. Each goal becomes a reflection of virtue, not vanity. Detachment transforms ambition into craftsmanship, work done for its own excellence, not its reward. Through stillness, time slows, awareness stretches. Every detail of life becomes visible, the sound of steps, the texture of air, the pulse of thought. The Stoic experiences existence fully because they are not rushing through it. This presence replaces constant seeking with appreciation. Detachment allows life to be felt deeply without dependence on pleasure. The permanence of detachment depends on inner order, and order requires honesty. The Stoic confronts contradictions within themselves ruthlessly. They expose self-deception and correct it without delay. Each correction strengthens structure. Stillness thrives where truth is unopposed. Lies, even small ones, agitate the soul. The detached mind becomes a refuge. In it, turmoil finds no grip. The Stoic builds this sanctuary deliberately. Reflection clears the dust of confusion each day. Gratitude fortifies the walls. Simplicity keeps the interior uncluttered. When life grows heavy, they retreat not into fantasy, but into clarity. Stillness is their home, not their hiding place. Detachment matures into serenity when desire obeys reason fully. The Stoic no longer needs circumstances to be ideal to remain steady. They find balance amid imperfection. Each disappointment becomes proof that control over outcome is unnecessary. Their calm deepens, not weakens, through hardship. Stillness survives contact with reality because it was built upon it. The permanence of detachment shapes perception of death. The Stoic does not fear the inevitable. They accept mortality as nature's rhythm. This acceptance removes anxiety's root. Life is lived cleanly when nothing essential is feared. Stillness, once mastered, follows even into uncertainty beyond comprehension. When stillness becomes constant, thought turns from control to understanding. The Stoic studies cause without judgment. They see why people act as they do, why fate unfolds as it must. This insight births compassion. Detachment does not remove humanity, it refines it. The calm mind sees the struggle in others and remains kind without being consumed. Each day lived in stillness expands awareness of the internal world. Emotions once hidden beneath reaction become visible patterns. The Stoic maps them without resistance. Joy, anger, fatigue, all are phenomena to be understood. Observation replaces repression. Through this awareness, balance is maintained even amid intensity. Stillness is not silence of sound, it is silence of chaos. It is the ordered hum of a mind that has found its rhythm. The Stoic moves within this quiet, like a craftsman shaping their work. Every act bears the signature of calm. The permanence of detachment transforms the ordinary into the sacred because it is done with full presence. The deeper the stillness, the greater the capacity for endurance. The Stoic absorbs the shocks of life without fracture. They bend, adapt, and continue. Their peace is elastic, not brittle. It stretches around circumstance and holds its form. This resilience is the highest form of focus. It sustains itself without constant effort, remaining alive through discipline and understanding, awaiting the next test that will call it into movement again. Detachment matures into structure when the mind decides to live by standard, not preference. The Stoic knows that peace without principle dissolves under pressure. Stillness must be reinforced by law, the inner law of conduct that does not bend under circumstance. From detachment grows discipline, and from discipline, the architecture of mastery. The individual who focuses on themselves must eventually construct order, because without it, the self drifts. Uncompromising standards become the frame that holds peace upright. The Stoic begins this architecture by defining what cannot be violated. Every person who seeks mastery must decide which lines cannot be crossed, even in silence, even unseen. These are not moral slogans, but living boundaries that preserve integrity. A life without boundaries is a life at the mercy of impulse. Each promise broken weakens command. Each act of indulgence tells the mind that principles are optional. The Stoic refuses this corrosion. They choose to live under law rather than emotion. Uncompromising standards are not arrogance, they are allegiance to reason. The weak chase balance through comfort. The disciplined find balance through exactness. The Stoic measures their choices against virtue, not convenience. They reject the argument of feeling when it conflicts with principle. This gives their days a rhythm beyond chaos. They rise, act, and rest by pattern, not reaction. Each decision echoes the same law, repeated until it becomes instinct. To live by uncompromising standards is to endure friction. The world mocks restraint. Mediocrity despises precision because it exposes its own disorder. But the Stoic remains firm. They know that comfort without character breeds decay. The same discipline that builds strength also builds solitude, for few can walk where principles are not negotiable. But solitude under law is stability. It is not absence, it is foundation. The Stoic enforces their standard without hostility. Their strength is quiet because it comes from obedience to order, not rebellion against others. They do not need to prove control. It is visible in consistency. Even their silence is structured. They speak only when words serve purpose. Every act, every pause, every refusal is guided by the same internal compass. Through this precision, their life becomes a form of geometry, measured, balanced, intentional. Standards test endurance more than emotion. It is easy to promise excellence once. It is mastery to maintain it through fatigue, temptation, and repetition. The Stoic learns to renew discipline daily. They do not expect ease, they expect resistance. Every morning they recommit to the law that governs them. They act as if observed by conscience alone. This repetition sharpens the will into permanence. The architecture of standards begins in the small. The way one eats, speaks, rises, and rests reflects the order of the mind. The Stoic treats small acts with gravity because disorder hides in detail. To leave one corner of life undisciplined is to invite decay to spread. Precision in one domain reinforces all others. Clean habits build a clean mind. A clean mind builds an uncorrupted will. The uncompromising person does not chase extremes. They do not confuse intensity with virtue. Their discipline is measured, not manic. It does not fluctuate with mood because it is governed by reason. They know that control that depends on motivation is fragile. True order requires no inspiration. It operates by duty. This constancy gives the Stoic strength that does not announce itself, yet never falters. When you focus on yourself, standards replace spectators. You no longer need applause to confirm value. Each day's conduct becomes its own proof. The Stoic's reward is alignment, the harmony between what is known to be right and what is done without hesitation. This inner agreement is worth more than any external praise. The disciplined life carries its validation within. Uncompromising standards reveal themselves most in restraint. Power is easy to display. Restraint is its confirmation. The Stoic measures victory by self-command. When provoked, they remain composed. When tempted, they remain selective. Their calm under pressure is not passivity, it is governance. They act by reason, not reaction. Through this restraint, they demonstrate that mastery is not intensity, but precision under fire. The disciplined life also demands isolation from the mediocre. The Stoic understands that environment shapes endurance. They do not immerse themselves in those who mock virtue. They prefer solitude to dilution. Association without alignment corrupts principle through slow erosion. To keep one's law intact requires vigilance over influence. The Stoic surrounds themselves with silence rather than compromise. Uncompromising standards sharpen perception. Once you hold yourself to order, you begin to see disorder everywhere. You see how carelessness weakens purpose, how indulgence fragments thought. The disciplined mind notices what others ignore. This awareness deepens focus. Each observation becomes an opportunity to refine. The Stoic uses the world as a mirror, studying failure not to judge but to strengthen vigilance. To hold a high standard is to invite fatigue. The mind will resist discipline because comfort is persuasive. The Stoic answers fatigue with clarity. To lower the standard is to abandon identity. Once principle becomes negotiable, all victories lose value. The disciplined do not compromise to rest. They rest to continue uncompromising. Their recovery is not indulgence, it is preparation. Every law requires enforcement. The Stoic enforces their own through ritual, morning reflection, physical rigor, evening review. Each act is a reminder of allegiance. These are not routines for productivity, but ceremonies of command. They align the body and mind to virtue's architecture. Without these pillars, focus collapses into distraction. With them, life becomes an ordered structure that resists decay. To hold uncompromising standards is to reject excuse. The Stoic sees justification as the language of weakness. They measure action, not intention. If failure occurs, it is examined, corrected, and removed, not explained. This self-honesty purifies character. The more direct the accountability, the less space emotion has to distort truth. Order requires such severity, not toward others, but toward the self. Discipline thrives in consistency. The Stoic treats each day as renewal, not as escape from yesterday. They do not seek novelty to disguise stagnation. Progress is measured by depth of repetition, not by variety. The same principles applied longer yield greater clarity. The modern obsession with constant change is foreign to the disciplined mind. Stillness and repetition reveal truth faster than movement without purpose. Uncompromising standards redefine freedom. To the undisciplined, law feels like confinement. To the Stoic, it is release from chaos. When choices align with reason, internal conflict ends. The disciplined person acts without hesitation because the decision was made long before the moment. Principle replaces impulse. In that readiness lies freedom, the ability to act cleanly under pressure. Focus on yourself long enough and you begin to build architecture others cannot see. Each decision strengthens an invisible fortress of integrity. It is not announced, yet it protects from within. The Stoic's composure in adversity is not accident. It is structure holding firm beneath pressure. To live with uncompromising standards is to build that structure intentionally, stone by stone, through every disciplined choice. Standards must evolve, but never decline. As understanding deepens, expectations sharpen. The Stoic revises methods but not morals. They adapt to new conditions without losing alignment. This flexibility preserves strength. Rigidity breaks under time. Clarity endures. The disciplined person knows that principle must be strong, but also alive. Uncompromising standards create solitude, but not loneliness. The Stoic is surrounded by silence because few share the same order. Yet, this silence is companion, not absence. It allows the mind to rest unguarded within its own structure. In solitude, discipline reveals its reward: peace without dependency. A mind that obeys its own law no longer fears isolation. When you focus on yourself, you remove the negotiation between effort and excuse. You begin to act from inevitability. The Stoic lives as though excellence were the only acceptable outcome of effort, even if unseen. They do not aim for praise. They aim for perfection within their sphere of control. Success is execution aligned with virtue. Every task becomes an opportunity to reaffirm order. Uncompromising standards require endurance against mediocrity disguised as moderation. The Stoic rejects the culture of good enough. They understand that partial discipline is self-betrayal. To aim beneath capacity is to live beneath reason. Their law demands full presence. Every act is either aligned or not. There is no spectrum of integrity. Through strict self-command, the Stoic's identity becomes predictable to virtue, but unreadable to emotion. They respond consistently to principle, not mood. This reliability makes them immovable. Others shift according to advantage. They move according to necessity. Order makes them reliable to themselves before reliable to the world. The Stoic treats every interaction as reflection of standard. They do not lie to preserve image, flatter to gain approval, or promise what they cannot deliver. Precision in word equals precision in conduct. The disciplined life cannot separate speech from truth. Even small dishonesty weakens the structure of focus. The Stoic avoids it not for fear of exposure, but for love of order. Uncompromising standards are not heavy, they are stabilizing. They remove decision fatigue by predetermining response. The Stoic does not waste energy debating virtue each time it is challenged. The decision has already been made in principle. This frees thought for creation, reflection, and refinement. Discipline, once complete, liberates thought from chaos. The architecture of order requires awareness of decay. Standards must be guarded against erosion by emotion, fatigue, or external influence. The Stoic watches for subtle shifts, rationalization disguised as adaptation, compromise dressed as empathy. Each time a law weakens, the structure trembles. Maintenance of discipline demands vigilance without paranoia. The wise repair quietly before collapse. Uncompromising standards also bring clarity in leadership. The Stoic governs others by governing themselves. Authority drawn from conduct endures beyond command. Those who witness discipline learn without words. The best guidance is example lived consistently. In this way, the self-focused person influences through presence, not persuasion. To live under law requires courage. It means saying no to pleasure, delay, and validation. It means enduring misunderstanding. But this cost refines character until truth becomes reward enough. The Stoic endures the tension of isolation because order has greater weight than comfort. The mind that chooses clarity over acceptance cannot be manipulated. In discipline, emotion is not suppressed but tamed. The Stoic does not aim to feel less. They aim to feel cleanly. Anger, ambition, love, all flow within boundaries. This containment transforms intensity into power. Emotion without rule is fire. Emotion under law is light. The uncompromising person channels both with precision. Every act of discipline becomes communication with fate. The Stoic expresses faith through order. By aligning their will with reason, they declare trust in the structure of existence. This harmony between microcosm and cosmos gives strength beyond understanding. When conduct mirrors nature, struggle turns into participation with it. The disciplined life is built quietly. There is no announcement, no visible milestone. Each decision strengthens foundation unseen. Over time, others notice composure without knowing its origin. They see steadiness, but not the 1,000 refusals that built it. The Stoic requires no acknowledgement because the act itself is fulfillment. To hold uncompromising standards is to live without apology. You act as reason dictates. You accept consequences, teacher. There is no need for justification when intention is clean. The Stoic trusts their own structure more than the judgment of the unstable. In this confidence lies serenity, not pride. Serenity built from alignment cannot be shaken by misunderstanding. Uncompromising standards are not a shield from struggle. They are a framework for it. They give form to adversity, turning chaos into challenge. Each trial becomes a test of integrity rather than a wound to it. The Stoic meets hardship with clarity. This is the moment to prove the law alive. Principles mean nothing until tested, and the disciplined welcome the test. The more the Stoic sharpens their order, the simpler life becomes. Complexity fades because each choice is filtered through the same question. Does this serve virtue, or does it serve decay? Clarity removes hesitation. The result is efficiency without haste, strength without tension, movement without waste. This purity of action defines mastery and prepares the mind for further ascent. Pressure reveals the truth of discipline. Anyone can claim order in calm waters. Only under fire is structure proven real. The Stoic views pressure not as punishment, but as instrument. It exposes weakness and verifies strength. Every trial is an X-ray of character. The invisible framework becomes visible through stress. When you focus on yourself long enough, you begin to see that difficulty is not an interruption to growth. It is its most accurate teacher. The disciplined do not resist adversity. They absorb it. They treat challenge as the forge where refinement occurs. Heat does not destroy the blade, it hardens it. In the same way, pressure purifies conduct. The Stoic endures not to prove endurance, but to perfect alignment between thought and action. When reason holds steady in pain, virtue becomes visible. The more intense the test, the more honest the result. A standard gains value only when it survives conflict. Principles that collapse under emotion are decorations, not foundations. The Stoic strengthens principle by deliberate exposure to difficulty. They seek discomfort that refines instead of comfort that decays. Cold, fatigue, rejection, loss, all are rehearsals for command. Each test refines the inner architecture until reaction no longer dictates behavior. Under pressure, the untrained mind negotiates, the disciplined executes. There is no debate when principle has been made absolute. The Stoic acts cleanly within chaos because they have rehearsed obedience to reason. This obedience frees them from panic. While others scramble to preserve comfort, they preserve clarity. Stillness amid turmoil becomes their identity. Refinement begins when emotion and reason collide. The Stoic allows the impact but refuses surrender. They let feeling pass through analysis, converting energy into strength. Fear becomes awareness, anger becomes precision, pain becomes focus. Each emotion is translated into utility. This conversion is the secret language of mastery. Where the untrained collapse, the Stoic transforms. Pressure strips away illusion. Under strain, one cannot pretend. Weak motives surface quickly. False confidence dissolves. The Stoic welcomes this exposure. They do not fear imperfection because it is information. Every failure under stress identifies the next weakness to refine. Through repetition, fewer cracks remain. Eventually, the person who once reacted begins to respond with cold accuracy. Refinement through pressure does not glorify suffering, it respects it. The Stoic understands that hardship itself is neutral. Its meaning depends on use. Some break, others build. The disciplined mind chooses to build. Pain becomes data, loss becomes discipline, uncertainty becomes focus. This perspective turns misfortune into material. The same event that ruins one person becomes the foundation of another. Character evolves through repeated confrontation. Each time the Stoic meets hardship without compromise, identity shifts toward strength. Integrity ceases to be effort and becomes reflex. What was once forced becomes natural. The mind conditioned by principle cannot betray itself without discomfort. This automatic alignment is the mark of true transformation. Pressure also reveals hierarchy within the mind. Desire competes with duty, emotion with logic, fear with reason. The Stoic uses each conflict to establish order. Duty commands, desire obeys, logic judges, emotion informs, fear warns, but reason decides. This chain of authority is maintained until it becomes permanent. When hierarchy stabilizes, peace follows. The evolution of character is not loud. It occurs in the silence between reaction and response. The Stoic measures progress by the space they create before speaking, before acting, before surrendering to impulse. Each second gained is a victory of consciousness. Over time, this awareness becomes constant, and constant awareness becomes command. Refinement under pressure requires presence. The mind must remain anchored in the immediate. Anticipation breeds panic. Reflection breeds strength. The Stoic directs full attention to the task within control. By narrowing focus to the present duty, they dismantle fear. Future and past dissolve, leaving only execution. This clarity transforms chaos into order. Every principle worth keeping must be tested through fatigue. Fatigue erodes pretense and demands conviction. The Stoic trains in endurance not to glorify suffering, but to prepare the will for reality's weight. Life will fatigue the unprepared mind into compromise. The disciplined expect this and welcome it as part of purification. Only a tested principle can be trusted. Refinement under constant standard eliminates self-deception. The Stoic cannot hide behind mood or excuse because their law remains unchanged. The same expectations apply on the worst day as on the best. This consistency breeds confidence. The mind no longer wonders what it will do under pressure. It already knows. Certainty replaces fear. When pressure escalates, the Stoic simplifies. They narrow thought to the essential. Extraneous concerns are amputated. What remains is what can be controlled. This pruning of attention is power. It allows full force to be applied in one direction. Complexity collapses under stress. Simplicity survives. The disciplined are prepared because they live simply even in ease. Refinement also requires humility. Pressure does not discriminate between strong and weak. It tests all. The Stoic accepts correction from outcome without defensiveness. Failure is not humiliation. It is feedback. Pride resists learning. Humility refines it. Through humility, the disciplined remain adaptable. Their standards evolve through insight rather than stagnation in ego. The evolution of character is the slow hardening of reason against temptation. The Stoic once struggled to maintain calm. Now calm maintains them. Every repetition of discipline etches control deeper into identity. What began as effort becomes instinct. When adversity comes, reaction aligns automatically with virtue. Mastery is reached when struggle becomes nature. The Stoic trains to act without friction between thought and deed. Pressure shortens this distance. In a crisis, delay kills clarity. The trained mind moves as if pre-programmed by virtue. There is no pause for fear, no debate over comfort. The action taken is the correct one because it was rehearsed in peace. Preparation transforms instinct into order. Every hardship is an invitation to strengthen endurance. The Stoic interprets adversity as confirmation that training continues. As long as pressure exists, growth remains possible. Complacency is the only true enemy. The disciplined welcome the weight of difficulty because it ensures continued evolution. They see it not as curse, but as privilege reserved for those still capable of progress. Refinement under pressure burns away dependence. The Stoic ceases to need external support to act rightly. They carry their discipline within. Whether praised or condemned, aided or abandoned, they remain the same. This independence is not isolation, it is stability. When principle is self-contained, no environment can corrupt it. The mind that endures becomes quiet. Pressure once felt as noise becomes rhythm. The Stoic hears the pulse of life without being drowned by it. Stillness under strain is the apex of mastery. It is not the absence of feeling, but the orchestration of it. Emotion obeys will, and will obeys reason. The result is harmony under fire. As character evolves, the Stoic learns to convert external weight into internal structure. The more the world demands, the more refined the order becomes. Burden ceases to be heavy when distributed through clarity. Each duty has its place, each thought its boundary. Focus divides chaos into tasks, and tasks into motion. In this organization, pressure becomes manageable. Refinement through adversity creates depth. Without struggle, virtue remains shallow, an idea untested. The Stoic values difficulty because it reveals dimensions of the self that comfort hides. They do not seek pain, but they do not avoid it when it serves formation. The disciplined person uses hardship as the sculptor uses stone, shaping, revealing, defining. Every trial forces the question, does principle hold? Each time the answer is yes, identity strengthens. The Stoic builds an unbroken chain of affirmation through consistent conduct. One act of compromise breaks the chain. Many acts of endurance forge it into permanence. The longer the chain, the steadier the person. Refinement demands consistency between vision and detail. The Stoics' high ideals mean little if daily actions contradict them. Under pressure, attention to detail proves commitment. They tie the smallest task to the largest virtue. Folding a cloak, keeping a promise, finishing a task, all express alignment with the same law. This unity of scale sustains focus through any trial. Pressure reveals the hidden hierarchy of fear. Some fear loss, others ridicule, others failure. The Stoic dissects each fear until only the root remains, the attachment to control. By surrendering control of outcome while maintaining control of conduct, fear dissolves. What remains is peace derived from precision. This understanding turns fear itself into discipline. Refinement requires repetition of discomfort. The Stoic returns willingly to environments that once unsettled them. They train in patience through delay, in composure through insult, in courage through uncertainty. Each revisit diminishes emotional volatility. Familiarity transforms threat into training. The same heat that once burned now tempers. The evolution of character shows itself in still performance. Under pressure, the Stoic's demeanor remains identical to peace. Movement is clean, breath steady, voice measured. This stability unnerves the chaotic because it cannot be mirrored. Calmness under fire exposes disorder without effort. The disciplined lead without command, simply by existing in control. Refinement is not the rejection of weakness, but the understanding of it. The Stoic studies their limits without shame. They analyze fatigue, irritation, doubt, not to avoid them, but to prepare for their return. Weakness observed becomes weakness restrained. Each recognition adds another layer of armor. Awareness, not denial, builds resilience. The more one lives under constant standard, the less dramatic progress feels. The Stoics' improvement becomes invisible to others, but undeniable to themselves. There are no breakthroughs, only increments. What was once difficult becomes routine. What was once feared becomes neutral. Transformation through repetition feels ordinary only to the extraordinary. Refinement under pressure transforms values. The Stoic begins to prize stability over pleasure, simplicity over luxury, truth over comfort. These preferences are not renunciations, but clarifications. Each choice aligns closer with reason. Pleasure ceases to command because it no longer defines satisfaction. Peace replaces excitement as the signature of strength. Character hardened by principle is not brittle. It bends under weight and returns to form. The Stoics' endurance is elastic because it is built on understanding, not denial. They know the limits of control, the certainty of change, the necessity of patience. This flexibility within principle preserves strength over time. The rigid break, the wise endure. Every day of disciplined living deposits unseen wealth, credibility with the self. The Stoic accumulates trust in their own consistency. This trust becomes confidence that does not rely on mood or approval. When crisis arrives, they act from that reserve. They no longer search for courage. It was stored through years of alignment. Pressure tests alignment between what is spoken and what is lived. Many recite principles until consequence arrives. The Stoic measures authenticity by behavior under cost. When virtue demands sacrifice, they pay without hesitation. Loss endured in truth is gain in strength. Each act of fidelity under pressure tightens the connection between belief and being. Refinement is perpetual. There is no final state where struggle ends. Each victory reveals new subtleties to correct. The Stoic embraces this endless work. They do not chase perfection. They practice constancy. Evolution is not ascension but depth. The same law lived with greater purity. The same calm held through greater storm. The same focus maintained through greater noise. The disciplined life under pressure creates calm authority. People sense that nothing external can displace this kind of order. Respect follows naturally, not demanded, but felt. The Stoic does not use calm to dominate. They use it to stabilize. Their steadiness becomes a quiet influence that anchors others still trapped in reaction. The more the Stoic endures, the lighter the world becomes. Weight, once unbearable, becomes familiar. Hardship loses power to intimidate. Difficulty becomes dialogue, a conversation between fate and virtue. Each new test refines communication. The Stoic listens to adversity as teacher, answers with discipline, and learns through repetition. The refinement of character through constant standard reaches beyond endurance. It becomes art. Every reaction is sculpted, every motion deliberate, every pause precise. The Stoic transforms survival into expression. Their composure becomes beauty in motion, discipline rendered visible. The world continues to test them, but their response remains unfinished, still sharpening, still evolving into the next form of order. Restraint is the crown of discipline. It is the moment when strength learns silence, when control becomes art. The Stoic understands that true power is not in action, but in the ability to withhold it until reason approves. Restraint is not repression, it is direction. The mind that governs its impulses rules a kingdom greater than empires. To focus on yourself means to master this precision, the act of choosing when not to act. The power of restraint begins with awareness. Every impulse arrives disguised as necessity. Anger insists it must speak. Desire insists it must reach. Pride insists it must defend. The Stoic learns to see through the disguise. They pause between stimulus and response, creating a space wide enough for reason to intervene. In that pause, chaos loses command. Every moment of restraint expands this inner territory of freedom. Restraint does not weaken expression, it refines it. The one who speaks less speaks clearer. The one who reacts slower acts cleaner. The Stoic treats silence as a tool of order. Words and actions are released only after judgment confirms their alignment with principle. This discipline transforms communication into precision. Restraint becomes eloquence without excess. The world mistakes noise for strength. The Stoic proves otherwise. Stillness under provocation carries more power than 1,000 reactions. The ability to remain unmoved by insult or temptation signals maturity of command. The one who can remain composed while capable of destruction possesses true control. Restraint is potential mastered. To focus on yourself is to learn measured action. Restraint does not forbid movement, it ensures timing. The Stoic acts when the moment serves reason, not emotion. They hold their decisions until clarity sharpens them to perfection. In a culture addicted to immediacy, patience becomes rebellion. Each delay builds accuracy, and accuracy builds authority. The disciplined mind does not waste energy in correction of what could have been prevented by restraint. Regret is often the shadow of haste. The Stoic avoids it by mastery of pace. They understand that reaction is often a loss of control disguised as urgency. To slow down is not to hesitate, it is to rule time. Each deliberate pause reminds the mind that it governs circumstance, not the reverse. Restraint is also the highest form of defense. The Stoic knows that enemies feed on reaction. Anger fuels their control, while silence dissolves it. Indifference to provocation is not weakness, but strategy. When emotion no longer dictates engagement, opposition becomes powerless. The calm mind wins without combat. Victory is measured in composure. Through restraint, the Stoic preserves purity of focus. Energy remains intact when not scattered across argument and justification. Each unnecessary word avoided is energy reclaimed for creation. This conservation builds stamina for purpose. The undisciplined waste strength proving themselves. The disciplined conserve it, becoming themselves. Restraint also refines perception. The quiet mind hears what the loud mind misses. The Stoic listens without needing to reply, observes without needing to judge. This attentiveness reveals motives, exposes falsehood, and clarifies truth. Power comes from patience, clarity comes from restraint. Together they form wisdom that does not announce itself. The art of restraint is visible in posture, in expression, in breath. The Stoic's calm is not practiced, it is inhabited. Each movement carries intentional stillness. Even when speaking, they maintain rhythm measured by reason. The tone is steady, never rushed, never raised beyond necessity. This composure radiates quiet authority. Those who lack control feel it as weight. Restraint governs emotion not through suppression, but through understanding. The Stoic studies each feeling as it rises, its source, its logic, its purpose. They do not deny anger, they question it. They do not banish desire, they discipline it. Every emotion becomes an opportunity to practice command. In this way, restraint evolves from control into wisdom. The power of restraint protects integrity. Every unspoken word, every ignored provocation, every delayed gratification strengthens identity. The Stoic refuses to trade inner peace for temporary satisfaction. They choose silence over spectacle, patience over pride. This refusal is not withdrawal, it is alignment with principle. Each decision builds internal coherence. To live with restraint is to carry calm into conflict. The Stoic does not mirror aggression, they neutralize it. They remain unshaken, responding to disorder with proportion. When others escalate, they de-escalate through stillness. Their presence alone lowers intensity. This control of emotional climate is leadership through composure, influence through example. Restraint transforms conflict into mirror. Every provocation reveals the boundary between ego and principle. The Stoic watches the urge to respond, studies it, and releases it. Each release strengthens detachment. Eventually, reaction fades into choice. When control becomes instinct, even chaos feels predictable. The power of restraint also shapes relationships. The Stoic listens more than they assert. They understand that persuasion through calmness lasts longer than domination through volume. When emotion fades, only reason remains credible. By speaking rarely and precisely, the disciplined person gives their words gravity. Their silence is never emptiness. It is a reminder of measure. To restrain oneself is to live by proportion. The Stoic rejects extremes because excess distorts virtue. They eat, rest, speak, and act in alignment with necessity. This balance frees them from dependence on pleasure. When you do nothing in excess, nothing can enslave you. Moderation becomes mastery. Each boundary respected reinforces freedom. Restraint clarifies moral vision. The one who pauses before acting sees consequences invisible to the impulsive. The Stoic weighs every intention against principle and every principle against nature. In this hierarchy, only the rational survives. By discarding what is unnecessary, they protect what is essential. Simplicity is the reward of restraint. Power restrained gains permanence. The Stoic avoids the exhaustion of constant reaction. They move with precision and stop before excess. This rhythm sustains endurance. The restrained mind does not burn out. It conserves momentum. Through control, they maintain presence even under fatigue. Their steadiness outlasts intensity. Restraint is not cold detachment, but warm composure. The Stoic feels deeply, yet chooses direction consciously. Compassion, anger, joy, all pass through the same gate of reason. What emerges is clean emotion, stripped of distortion. This purity deepens connection rather than dulling it. Those who master restraint can love without possession and lead without coercion. To focus on yourself requires understanding restraint as creation, not suppression. Each act withheld opens space for construction. Energy saved from reaction is applied to refinement. The Stoic redirects passion into purpose, turning what could have been conflict into craftsmanship. This transformation is the essence of discipline, force translated into form. Restraint also builds trust. The person who controls their impulses commands respect. Others sense reliability in their composure. They know that such a person will not betray in haste or decide in emotion. Trust grows naturally around stability. The Stoic's restraint becomes social gravity. People orient to their calm. To act with restraint is to think with clarity. The mind unshaken by impulse perceives truth without bias. The Stoic distinguishes appearance from essence, urgency from importance. This discernment guides conduct through complexity. Restraint filters noise until only signal remains. In that quiet, decisions align perfectly with reason. The power of restraint exposes how rare discipline truly is. Most people are ruled by feeling disguised as authenticity. They mistake reaction for honesty, indulgence for freedom. The Stoic sees this inversion clearly. Freedom without restraint is chaos wearing the mask of liberty. True freedom is order within choice. Restraint cultivates endurance of peace. The disciplined learn to remain calm for long periods without reward. They do not demand constant stimulation or praise. This capacity for quiet sustains focus. In a restless world, the ability to remain undisturbed is a superlative strength. Stillness becomes superiority without arrogance. The Stoic practices restraint not once, but always. It is the continuous art of choosing silence over speed, measure over impulse. It requires daily renewal because temptation never ends. Each new day offers opportunities to waste energy, to speak unnecessarily, to act without thought. The disciplined accept these tests as maintenance of mastery. Through restraint, humility is preserved. Power tempts exaggeration, silence prevents it. The Stoic remembers that control over the self is greater than victory over others. They do not display restraint for admiration, it is private worship of order. Every unexpressed boast becomes another act of devotion to reason. The restrained person becomes untouchable. Offense fails to penetrate, flattery fails to seduce. Their mood no longer depends on external tone. They hear praise and criticism as echoes, not commands. This stability confuses the unstable. Those who seek control through manipulation find no purchase. Calm becomes armor. Restraint elevates influence. The Stoics' composure sets the emotional temperature of every room they enter. Others lower their voices, slow their pace, measure their tone. Power spreads quietly from those who do not chase it. Presence replaces assertion. This is dominance without aggression, authority born from equilibrium. Restraint and focus are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. To concentrate deeply, you must first master what to ignore. Every act of restraint narrows the field of attention, sharpening thought into precision. The Stoic does not multitask with the mind. They isolate it. Clarity requires exclusion. Through discipline, exclusion becomes art. Every great work requires restraint in its creation. The Stoic applies this principle to living. They subtract until only essence remains. This constant refinement creates elegance in conduct, speech, and being. When nothing unnecessary remains, every motion carries meaning. The fewer words used, the more they weigh. The fewer desires entertained, the freer the soul. Restraint gives shape to time. By controlling impulse, the Stoic stretches the present moment. They live fully within each action, not racing toward the next. This immersion multiplies experience. Life expands not by adding more events, but by deepening awareness of each. Restraint slows existence into richness. The power of restraint is visible only to those who possess it. To the undisciplined, it appears lifeless. To the wise, it is serenity in motion. The Stoic values this invisibility. They do not need recognition for control. The reward is the peace that follows. The still mind is its own praise. Restraint refines the essence of power until it becomes indistinguishable from peace. The Stoic learns to exist in perfect proportion, intensity contained, emotion understood, motion guided, silence inhabited, nothing wasted, nothing forced. Within that equilibrium, they discover that strength requires no witness, and peace requires no permission. When all distractions fade and the world grows silent, what remains is the self, the final territory to command. Every lesson within focus, discipline, and restraint converges here. The Stoic sees that the purpose of control is not perfection, but peace. The aim is not dominance over life, but harmony with it. To focus on yourself is to build an interior empire, one whose walls are made not of ego, but of understanding. The outside world may shift, but this domain endures untouched. The Stoic learns that power begins with clarity. Those who cannot direct their attention cannot direct their life. Every wasted thought divides the self. Every moment of precision unifies it. To focus is to reclaim ownership of mind, to return from exile in distraction. Attention is not something you spend, it is something you become. When the mind is whole, action follows effortlessly. Focusing on yourself means withdrawing from false measurements. The crowd measures worth by visibility, the wise measure by conduct. The Stoic steps back from comparison, from envy, from the constant theater of opinion. They no longer ask, "How do I appear?" but "Am I aligned?" The answer defines identity more honestly than any recognition. Each time you act from principle instead of validation, you reclaim a piece of yourself. The person who focuses inward discovers simplicity. They stop chasing outcomes that lie beyond their reach. Success, respect, security, these become byproducts of right conduct, not obsessions of the will. The Stoic acts according to nature, to be rational, disciplined, and just. When behavior aligns with reason, peace follows naturally. The world does not need to agree for order to exist. The self becomes stable when its foundation is internal. Praise and criticism, gain and loss, are external weather. The Stoic prepares for all climates by standing firm within. They no longer seek calm from quiet surroundings. They bring calm to chaos. A disciplined life radiates stillness like heat from stone. Whatever comes cannot corrupt it, because it comes from outside the fortress of mind. To focus on yourself is not to withdraw from responsibility, it is to perfect it. Only the centered can lead without distortion. The one who has mastered their inner world becomes trustworthy in the outer. The Stoics' peace serves as example, their steadiness as guidance. They influence not by command, but by conduct. True leadership is silent alignment that others feel before they understand. Every act of focus strengthens identity. Every moment of distraction dissolves it. The Stoic understands this exchange and chooses clarity over noise. They know that to control thought is to control the quality of experience. The disciplined mind filters reality through virtue. The undisciplined mind filters it through emotion. The difference between both is not circumstance, but sovereignty. Self-command transforms perception. What once appeared as misfortune now appears as material. Adversity becomes rehearsal, delay becomes instruction, loss becomes proof of endurance. The Stoic stops asking, "Why me?" and begins asking, "How can this serve my training?" Life ceases to be an argument and becomes an apprenticeship. In that shift, suffering loses its sting. The focus of the Stoic is not narrow, it is deliberate. They see widely but act precisely. Their gaze scans the whole, yet their will moves only where it matters. They do not confuse awareness with interference. Observation is not reaction. By seeing without being pulled, they move through life as through clear water, untouched, unblurred, unhurried. To focus on yourself means to accept responsibility for perception. Events are neutral. Judgment makes them good or bad. The Stoic reclaims this power by examining every conclusion. Before labeling an event, they test its truth. This pause prevents chaos from entering through misinterpretation. When judgment obeys reason, the world becomes navigable. The inner discipline of focus replaces the need for control. The Stoic ceases to argue with reality. They work within cause, not against it. Their strength lies in harmony, not resistance. Every act of surrender to what is beyond control strengthens command over what remains. Acceptance becomes the highest form of power, the ability to move cleanly within limits. Self-focus reveals that the external world is mirror, not master. Each encounter reflects the state of the observer. The Stoic uses this reflection to correct rather than to condemn. If insult angers, pride is exposed. If flattery pleases, vanity is revealed. The disciplined mind uses every reflection as feedback. In this way, life itself becomes a training ground for virtue. The focused individual cultivates precision in all things. Their environment reflects their mind, clean, ordered, intentional. They understand that surroundings influence thought. The Stoic keeps their space as they keep their conscience, free from clutter, free from excess. Order in the visible sustains order in the invisible. The physical becomes an echo of the mental. To focus on yourself means to live deliberately. Every gesture carries reason. Every choice has weight. The Stoic refuses to drift. They act from understanding, not impulse. They recognize that each decision builds character brick by brick. Randomness is a luxury the disciplined cannot afford. Life is too brief to waste on unconscious motion. The self-focused person also learns to forgive themselves quickly but not lightly. Guilt without correction is indulgence. The Stoic acknowledges error, adjusts, and moves forward. They do not dwell in shame, nor do they excuse negligence. Forgiveness becomes part of order, the reset between reflection and renewal. Progress demands motion, not paralysis. Focusing inward reveals the economy of energy. The Stoic spends nothing on complaint, gossip, or fear. They conserve effort for creation and endurance. This efficiency builds momentum. While others tire from reaction, the disciplined thrive on consistency. Their energy compounds because it is not wasted. Focus is wealth hidden in conduct. The greatest test of focus is noise. Constant input, endless demand, digital restlessness. The Stoic practices subtraction. They withdraw attention from distraction until silence feels natural again. They treat stillness as nourishment. In silence, the mind heals from fragmentation. Clarity returns when nothing competes for it. When you focus on yourself, time slows. Awareness expands. Routine becomes ritual. Every act, eating, training, writing, walking, becomes an opportunity for presence. The Stoic lives through repetition without boredom because attention transforms the ordinary into ceremony. What matters is not the task, but the consciousness behind it. The disciplined self is consistent in both success and failure. Praise does not inflate them. Defeat does not diminish them. Their focus remains steady. They understand that virtue is not conditional. When all outcomes are accepted, anxiety dies. Only the effort remains sacred. The Stoic lives not for victory, but for alignment with truth. Focusing on yourself refines patience. The Stoic sees that progress measured by comparison is false. Real change is measured in stillness, in how long one can act without recognition, endure without validation, continue without applause. This endurance is the purest discipline, motion guided by principle alone. As the Stoic matures, focus evolves into serenity. The mind no longer seeks control, it seeks understanding. Events unfold, and within them, the self remains clear. Serenity is not softness, it is authority over reaction. The calm person commands reality by ceasing to fight it. They act within flow, not friction. The one who focuses on themselves outgrows competition. They move from ambition to contribution. Achievement becomes expression of principle, not pursuit of approval. The Stoic creates value not for reputation but for harmony. Work becomes meditation, effort becomes virtue in motion. Their legacy is consistency, not spectacle. Self-focus requires endurance through solitude. The path narrows, the higher one ascends. Few can bear the silence required for reflection. But solitude is not absence, it is purification. The Stoic learns to listen to the voice of conscience, to converse with their reason. In that dialogue, clarity replaces loneliness. Solitude becomes strength, disguised as silence. The final evolution of focus is detachment from outcome. The Stoic works without expectation. They aim with care but release the result. When success comes, they remain humble. When failure arrives, they remain calm. This equanimity transforms effort into peace. To focus on yourself is to act well and let the world decide what follows. Every principle returns to the same foundation. Control what you can. Accept what you cannot. Distinguish between the two. Focus is the discipline that enforces this law. It transforms philosophy into practice. Each moment lived under this division restores sanity. The Stoic does not seek to change the world before mastering the self. Order begins within. The disciplined life is its own proof. It needs no justification. When you focus on yourself, you begin to see that meaning is self-generated. The universe reflects the clarity you bring to it. The more precise your mind, the more orderly your reality. This reciprocity is quiet but absolute. Inner structure shapes outer experience. To focus on yourself is to accept that mastery is a lifetime's work. There is no finish line, only refinement. Each day becomes a page of correction, small improvements, minor adjustments, silent victories. The Stoic measures success not in milestones, but in constancy. They are content to build slowly, knowing permanence grows through repetition. Discipline creates stillness. Stillness creates vision. From vision comes understanding, and from understanding, peace. The Stoic follows this sequence daily. They do not seek enlightenment as an event, but as continuity. Focus is not a moment. It is a state that endures beyond emotion. It becomes the posture of existence. Focusing on yourself strips away the false urgency of the world. The Stoic learns that most problems vanish when ignored, most noise fades when unheard. The fewer battles fought, the fewer wounds carried. Wisdom often hides in restraint. The calm mind wins not by conquest, but by refusal to be drawn into chaos. The individual who has mastered focus reaches equilibrium. They no longer chase extremes. Pleasure and pain, victory and loss, both serve the same master, reason. From this still center, life unfolds cleanly. The Stoic lives not in reaction, but in awareness. Each day ends without residue, each act leaves no conflict behind. Focus reveals the final truth of strength. It was never about domination, but about understanding. The Stoic who governs their mind governs everything they encounter. They are unmoved not because they are empty, but because they are full of clarity, conviction, and composure. Their stillness is not absence of motion, it is motion perfected. To focus on yourself is to return to nature's rhythm. The Stoic walks in alignment with the universal order, accepting, adjusting, enduring. They live with discipline, not as burden, but as harmony. In this alignment, effort feels light, time feels sufficient, and peace feels earned. The self no longer resists life. It participates in it with precision. When you focus on yourself, you cease to need permission to exist. You become complete in conduct, independent of opinion, constant through change. You understand that mastery is not possession, it is presence. To be here, fully aware, acting rightly, unmoved by outcome, that is the summit of discipline, the essence of focus, the definition of peace.